Hello.
Where I start actually sending audio as well as video, right?
Audio is good.
So how are you and Steve?
I'm okay. Still too hot in Europe, but we can survive.
Has it gotten any cooler?
Only a few days and now it's back up again.
It's so in Dallas, it's actually raining. So that's a good thing. It hasn't been for a while.
Oh yeah, here it okay. Yeah, here it's been raining like 1 or 2 days in like 3 or 4 months.
Wow, just craziness.
Yeah.
Well, we are still gathering. I'm going to take a quick, like a 30-second call. I will be right back.
Okay.
Apparently, a lot of people are having regrets. Maybe that's a mistake.
Maar wist je dat er speciaal dat er gewoon serieus mensen zijn die zichzelf aanbieden om zich hiermee bezig te houden? Dat las ik laatst op wat was het, BN Stem of zo. Ze zei, was een mevrouw die was zelf ook iemand verloren en die werd helemaal gek van haar rondgelopen.
And I should be
mensen die een partner verliezen daar bij te
Actually, it says I'm on regrets, but I'm here. And Reto as well.
Volgens dus alles al heel goed regelen. Dus hij is dan gisteren overleden en wordt vrijdag al.
Steve, you are very quiet now.
Het is ook van al, dan is het eindelijk.
Oh, sorry, Spencer. Sorry, Spencer.
Dan begint de hele rondkom pas. Ja, ik zeg wel sorry, ik wil je echt geen. Ik wil je niet deprimeren of zo, maar ik zeg even, ja, ik wil ook eerlijk zijn, weet je. Maar ik schrok er wel van. Dat is van, oh ja, goed, ja, inderdaad. En allemaal nog niet over nagedacht natuurlijk. Maar het lijkt me ook wel gek als iemand die veel jonger is dan jij daar meer van af weet dan. Ja, sowieso. Ja.
You know if Michael is coming? We can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Perfect. And Michael is expecting to join us, but was not sure he would be back from his appointments in time to be here at the beginning. So anything that turns out to be critical for his participation, um, there may be, like I said, there may be a couple of things on process from Atroska that he would know the answer to that I would not. But I think everything else we can just work our way through. So
Yeah, there was a few things I wanted to discuss with him, but yeah, I guess we could start on Slack unless you
okay.
need him as
Uh-huh. And okay, cool. So just working our way through our usual stuff. Um, let's see, I did this yesterday. So Matroska 11-11 was posted. Did we have any other changes? I have not looked today on drafts that were draft updates that were submitted. And we said, so for FLAC, we said we could spend a decent amount of time at the August meeting on FLAC if we needed to. I did have a update for people as of about 30 minutes ago. Our AD has approved that the October interim meeting will be co-located with No Time to Wait, and I could actually say that.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Notes. And so, so you all may see some. You may see a cancellation for the not in person, not co-loaded October interim meeting, but don't cancel your tickets. Are there people on this call who know that they won't be at No Time to Wait in person?
I don't know whether I will be there 3 days, but I should make the October meeting on the co-located meeting.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'll be there as well, and I suppose Reto as well. I don't think Michael will be there.
Or
I
Michael,
mean, Michael, Michael
oh, okay, yes,
Niedermeyer.
yes, yes.
Michael, I don't know. I think he was intending to come.
Yeah, that's the last I had heard. Yes. So we will see if. But the plan was to allow remote participation so I could come. So so no changes to anything if somebody else is not able to be there in person also. This is about the time that we would accept our draft minutes from the previous meeting that were sent to the mailing list like yesterday. Did anybody have changes that they needed us to make?
No.
I have no objections.
Excellent. So, so we'll just say no objections on the call. And we'll spell that right, of course, but anyway. Cool. that gets us most of the way down to talking about FLAC. Who would like to drive this from GitHub? I can, but it would be a tiny bit of a challenge for me to take notes at the same time.
I could, I guess. I don't know how, but I can try.
Oh, okay. So Martin, are you logged into the data tracker, looking at the looking at a hedge doc that looks something like this?
Yes, I am
No,
looking at the hedge.
Not that. This one. Sorry. Okay, perfect. I think all you really need to do for these is to record like what issues / PRs we need to that we have been able to resolve. You know, just the number is fine, and what issues need more review.
I'm just worried that my desktop won't be able to cast the screen because it is already having problems with Meet Echo.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. We can all be watching. We can all be watching the.
GitHub issues.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me worry about this, and you can pay attention to the technical discussion. Okay.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, excellent. So if we were going to FLAC, we would be something like here, and I will move I will move this down to another screen. Okay. So I can take notes and not distract you guys, and so you are seeing what I'm seeing in GitHub.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So last call, we were asking for reviews of 138 and 158, I think. Yeah.
Yes, 138 has been merged. That had been reviewed by Jerome. That was that had been I asked for a review quite a while ago, but yet didn't have time. But he did just in time to have it merged for the upload of the new document to the data tracker.
Okay.
So then 158 still remains. We're now at the issues. Can you open the pull requests?
And let's see, that was a PR, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this, and we did have a couple of things here with a change requested. Is that something we need to look at?
No, well, I'll just.
Okay.
I had something written down for this. The thing is, we at some point the question was, should we add in encapsulation specifications for FLAC to be encapsulated in awk or Matroska or MP4. So the encapsulation specification for awk, do I pronounce it right, awk? Is rather short. It's on the FLAC website and it's only less than a page, but it could be. It was already. I could compress it even more, less text. So it's in the document. Why there's still a change requested is, well, you're looking at it now. Jerome asked, why is Vorbis comments metadata block mandatory and why is the order important? Well, it's in the specification that's already there. I don't know why it's important. Apparently software counts on it. So seems best to me not to change, but I left it open anyway.
Okay.
But the question I would have here is, well, awk is already in there. It's a short piece. There's a reference to Matroska. There's the Matroska Codex part that will the Matroska specification is now in, I don't know which stage, but it's further up the chain than FLAC at this point. If FLAC references to the other Matroska document, I don't know what when that will be published. Would it be a problem if FLAC goes out first? Because if it's I read that if it's not an informative but a normative reference, then they need to be in the queue at the same time or something. Do you follow?
And we can reasonably talk about that. Can you catch me up on so I have one question here. Are we talking about the FLAC spec referencing Matroska?
Well,
right?
specifically the codex part. So
Yeah,
Matroska,
right.
Matroska,
Yeah,
specification is split
I was
up
just
into
trying to make sure I had the direction right.
Yes.
I think the codex part of the Matroska, so it's a standalone document. That's not the one that has been submitted. So it will be most likely published after FLAC. And from my, I mean, they won't even probably be in the queue at the same time. My understanding is when you reference that document, you put like a link to the draft. We do that internally also with our documents. And from, I think what Michael said once the document is not draft anymore, but it's the published version, like it's automatic that the reference in the other documents are updated or something like that.
Right.
But is that
So
only the case
basically,
when there's an informative? I read something in some IETF document that can only happen if it is referenced as an informative reference and not if it's referenced as a normative reference. So I don't know what that's the right term, but apparently
No,
when it's a normative
those are the right
reference,
terms.
apparently when it's
Yeah.
a normative reference, they do have to be at the same time in the queue, otherwise they can't reference each other or something, or Matroska Codex.
Right.
So
Right.
the question I have is...
The idea is basically that if a document has not been approved by the ISG, the contents can change. So they don't want to publish an RFC which says you're finished, but you have to read a document that it still could change in order to implement it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I guess.
So if you don't have, if you don't have to read the document that is still subject to change in order to implement the first document, you can publish it with a informative reference to a draft. That would be a conversation with our AD, but the process allows us to do that. And I've published and I've approved documents with informative references to drafts. So,
okay, but
in your case, do you need a normative reference or an informational reference to the
well, that's the
Matroska
question.
Codex?
That's the question I have really, because the FLAC document in itself is, well, it doesn't depend on the Matroska Codex part, obviously. It's only that for the encapsulation, we say, okay, for the encapsulation, look at that document. Then you can ask yourself the question, is the encapsulation something that really needs to be in the FLAC document? Does it need to be a normative reference? Well, I don't think so, because it's, well, not an indispensable part of FLAC. to be embedded in Matroska. But I really value your opinion on this.
In my opinion, my preference is that basically every codec should have its own document of how it should be put in whatever container. My reference is AV1, the video codec, and basically there's a document for how you put it in MP4. There's one on how you put it in Matroska. For Matroska, because historically we had a large document with lots of codec, how you put them in Matroska, we will do that, but it would be very possible that you take the text for FLAC in Matroska from that document, you put it in yours, I don't know if it's big or not, and then that's the normative part of how you put it in Matroska.
Okay, yeah, that would be fine too. It's
And
just a
then we
short
would
piece.
if the only thing we would do in the Matroska codec document is to put a link to your RFC to say, if you need to put FLAC, you just look at that document, it says how you do it.
Okay, so we take out the part. Okay.
Yeah, so because from what I understand, you already do it for OGG and
Yes, I did.
MP4. So
No,
I
not
mean,
for
it's
MP4
just,
because the MP4 document is really, really large, several pages, and I think that should be a reference to a document somewhere on GitHub, because I can't abbreviate it. It's really, it would take tens of pages to get it in there, and I think that's not appropriate.
yeah, I understand. That's the same for everyone, and it's even worse because it's a video codec with even more parameters. But yeah, that's the idea of in my opinion, that's how it should be done for each codec and each container. It should be one document. So if that exists for MP4, you can just put a link to that, and that's enough.
Yes, I found it fascinating that the part for OGG and the part for Matroska is just a few lines, and the part for MP4 is many pages for some reason.
Yeah, but in fact, I think either OGG and Matroska, they're the wrong way to do the specification. They're probably too short to really explain all the edge cases or whatever. Like, for example, you're supposed to say the bit rate, not the bit rate, the sampling rate of your FLAC file found in whatever field of your FLAC headers should match the header in the sampling rate in the Matroska audio track. Same thing for bit depths, etc. I'm sure these documents don't do that, but technically you should do it if you want to do it properly. It's implied that people know what they're doing and they have to map the fields from one to the other, but normative document should say it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that was pretty much the questions I had for this pull request. Thanks for the input. I had two more questions that aren't linked to any pull request. So
Okay, just to close this, just to finish this one up. So do you think you have what you need to merge this now?
yes, I will change some things and then I can merge it. But I now know in which direction I should go.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we shoot for.
Okay. Next item of discussion, I was wondering, at some point, I think about half a year ago, I sent in a pull request for, it wasn't merged because it was a bit out of place, but I was thinking of a section on development history. I called it past changes at some point. The problem is there is FLAC software around that, when asked, can create files that are not complying to the current spec. The spec was changed at some point, just a tiny detail at some point in 2007, but there is still software around that you can, it's actually shipped with Debian, that you can, if you put in some option, creates files that are not spec compliant. I was thinking about putting in a short section on what changed in 2007 and how these files should be interpreted. It's just about the coded number, actually. Does that make sense, or does it not have place in a normative document?
I think it makes sense. Just, I mean, in Matroska, for example, we have like I think 80 elements that have been deprecated over time that nobody uses. We still put it in an annex at the end of the normative document because they still have an ID, type, etc. So people who might create new elements, they should rather not reuse IDs that existed in the past. So we just list them there. So yeah, in my opinion, it's a good idea to put it, especially if there's some special values that have been used in the past that people might find or try to avoid using.
Okay.
So
Well,
the
that's
answer is
my
basically
idea.
that this is what we've done with Matroska. So we think it makes sense to do it with black as well.
I
Sorry,
think
I
so.
understand that.
Yes,
We
I
have
think.
the same idea. It's the best to have that, as Steve has said, in a
Okay.
special section.
Yes,
So
in an
the
appendix.
information is not gone, it's there, but it's not in the normative part.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say was you can have, usually they're an appendix and labeled non-normative, but I mean like examples and things like that. You know, that's a perfectly fine thing to do. You know, if you all think it's helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might be helpful, especially as we're looking at archival. Well, that's the market. Well, market is the wrong term, but obviously, Cellar is geared towards archival usage, and I would think if one comes across an old file and finds it odd that something doesn't match with the spec, it makes sense to put it in the section why it doesn't.
Yes, absolutely. I would, you guys are the pros, but I would agree absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's for that question. I had one final one.
Okay.
It's another non-normative thing. At some point during, also about half a year ago, we created the FLAC test files repository in the IETF-WG-CELLAR organization. And that contains files with, all 60 files which cover all the aspects of the FLAC format. And I used these files on several hardware and software decoders and found out that some features of the FLAC format are not well supported. I could also, in an appendix, write something about if you really want to create FLAC files with the highest possible compatibility, you should not use these and these and these features. But that's really subject to age badly, I guess.
Right.
So would that be something I should put in, or should I leave that out?
I'm typing real quick, so you guys talk, and then I will talk.
I don't know. We have also the same situation in Matroska where we say, like, there's some elements that have to be there that everyone has to support, and some others that like tags, for example, most of the programs don't handle it, or they just write it and never read it properly. Yeah, in the introduction of some elements of the format, we say this is not uh, commonly used, or this is commonly used, and you should be prepared to handle it. But yeah, of course, it can change over time, and the document might be weird in the future that something says it's not common and everybody's using it. So
Yeah, maybe that's why it should be in an appendix as well. Maybe put in a warning that it might
well,
change. I don't know.
we have a section called guidelines, and basically in there we say what people should do and or might do, or not necessary. So maybe you could have some guidelines saying these features are very common. You should handle it for sure, and these are not common. Uh, so you might prioritize your work on the other ones.
Could I show you guys something that is, I can just stick it in. I can just stick it in the notes. But so we had this problem with a specification that got approved last week in the MOPS working group. And it was basically, we have information that's valuable and that we don't think it will age well. Does that go? So is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
So what we ended up with was we put a separate .md file in the right place in the in GitHub, and put the information that we wanted people to know in that, and then created a informative reference to that separate MD file, or whatever you guys are using. But yeah, where basically the working group can continue to, or even a community of interest can continue to update the information that's likely to not age well. So
Okay. Well,
I can put
yeah.
I could put the link to that in a comment in the minutes, just so you all can see that to consider it.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't think of that, but it makes sense because we already have a section implementation status that also doesn't age well, and that references to the GitHub wiki. I can add that as well there. Of course, I can just add to the implementation section status, look for implementations here, and maybe for which features are well supported, and then edit in the wiki. Yeah. Makes sense. Thanks.
So you guys wonder why I'm around. Sometimes it's okay. Cool. Are there any other things that we need to talk about with FLAC?
No, I don't think so. Well, at least not from my part.
Anyone else?
Not from my side.
If you guys can give me about 2 minutes, let me ping Michael and see if he is able to join us at this point.
Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
Okay. I will be right back, as we say. We can give him, I guess we can give him a couple of minutes and then we'll adjourn if we haven't heard anything back. Oh, that's right. You guys can see what I typed. Perfect. And while we were waiting, I guess I should also ask if there's anything for FFV1 version 4 that we should talk about.
That's the thing that I wanted to talk about, is that there's two things I would like to be merged in the document before it's submitted or finalized or whatever, but I think we'll do some edits in the meantime.
Okay.
So it's probably okay that we can merge them before, but I wanted some input on if we do it now or if we do it a bit later.
I would think you could do it now.
Well, one of them is changing the layout of the document. There's actually a bug that one of the field of some elements was missing from the document. So basically, there's a lot of elements that are not fully described properly. So we definitely need to fix that. I also changed a bit the layout to make it cleaner and shorter. But the problem is that then they have the diff tool when you submit a document, and they can see what you changed. Like the whole document will look a lot different. Well, not all of
Right,
it,
sure, yeah.
so they will think everything has changed. So I don't know if it's cool or not.
So Spencer's answer, because this happens. So in some other working groups, a practice that they do is, so you remember how we adopted documents for as working group documents.
EBMN.
So yeah, like ones we've done, in the past. So what a lot of times people will do is they will say, here is this document that reflects all the technical changes. Okay, and that's what you need to be able to diff. And then the next version is only format changes.
Okay.
Okay, and I am not as smart about this in GitHub as I am about in the data tracker, but in the data tracker, it's easy to say compare version 15 with version 13. You're not limited to an adjacent version. So
yeah, okay.
that would be my suggestion, would be to do 2 updates, and I would say, like, do the first one as the technical updates, and then do the second one as only rearranging.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. I can do that. I can split because there's one pull request, but I can split it in between formatting and editing, and we'll keep the formatting for when we publish the next update. We'll publish one, and then we'll publish another one
Right.
with the formatting change. Okay.
That sounds perfect to me. And anything that I say, you can blame on me later, right?
It
Hey,
sounds
Michael just popped in.
reasonable.
Just got back. Adjourn?
Yes.
They said yes. Okay. Perfect. So we will adjourn. Our next meeting will be in September at the usual time and place, and then the meeting after that will be in October at an unusual time and place.
Yes. Well, yeah. I didn't check the time if it's so unusual or not. Yeah, probably because otherwise it's in the evening. But yeah.
Cool.
It's
You guys,
2 in the afternoon.
have a great
Okay.
day, and enjoy any part of your next 18
Evening.
minutes that you got back.
You too.
Thank
Have
you
a
all.
good day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, and see you next time.